Hello everyone, it's Michelle Gilmartin here with the first of 3 videos on your quest to get the free design for this little Stay Cozy pillow. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to separate and send your pieces of that you can cut with your Scan and Cut directly to your Scan and Cut. So I'm beginning in Canvas Workspace because Canvas Workspace really it's free, and to actually take an SVG, send it over to your Scan and Cut, just really quick and easy. So I'm going to begin by selecting a new Canvas project. From the Canvas project, I'm going to look for the little icon at the top of the bar that says SVG file. So I'm going to click on the SVG and it's going to say choose the file. So I'm going to go to the USB that I have that has my file on it for the Stay Cozy pillow, and I'm going to say OK to open it. When it opens up on my mat, these are the actual sizes of the pieces. Now, since all of these are kind of like, well, the mittens are raw edge, but the pieces for above the mittens, there actually is plenty of space, so you don't have to worry about resizing the patterns at all. Plus, what I found with the Kimberbell SVGs is you have plenty of room that if you have like Misty Fuse or Steam-A-Seam or something like that on the back of your fabric, that they will be fairly easy to cut. They will be the right size that you need them to be. You don't need to allow extra. So one of these pieces I don't actually need. So this little piece right here is part of the scarf that was supposed to be a piece of fabric. If you got your kit from A1 Vacuum and Sewing in Reno, we included 3 different colors of ribbon for you to use for that piece. So I'm just going to get rid of that piece by clicking on it. When I see the blue dots around it, I can just hit delete on my keyboard. And then the rest of these, I'm going to move around and put them in sections. I think side to side like this for them. And then I'm going to take my scarf pieces and put them together. You have the whole mat to work with. You know, spread out a little bit. And I'm going to actually straighten this out a little bit. So when I click on those blue dots, see I have a little green handle here that lets me rotate those 2 pieces. And I'm going to put them side by side. And then now I have plenty of room. I can arrange my pieces on the mat so that I can put all my fabric on the mat at one time. And these are not grouped together. So if I get to my mat and realize that my mittens should probably be facing the other way so that they will cut out on the one piece of a glitter vinyl that I have, it's fine. I'll be able to move them. So I'm pretty much done in Canvas. See, that wasn't painful, was it? I'm going to go ahead and download it. Now, if you are connected by a wireless transfer to your Scan and Cut at home, then all you have to do is click on Scan and Cut Transfer, and it will say, okay, the Scan and Cut transfer is ready, meaning that you'll just go to your Scan and Cut, select to retrieve the design via the wireless feature, and you'll be ready to cut. This is the store Scan and Cut, not my home one. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the other way, which is to download and then save it to your computer. But look at that. It's everything I download is going to say Untitled FCM if I don't give it a name. So up here where it says project title on your top bar up here, I'm going to put in Stay Cozy. And that's so that I can identify the cut file. Depending on what software you have on your computer. If you have embroidery software, sometimes embroidery software will recognize it, a cutting file, and you'll be able to see a picture. But with most of them, you cannot. So Stay Cozy lets me see what that is so that I know what I'm going to, which file I'm looking for. So that's it. I'm done. So from here, I'm going to meet you over at the Scan and Cut, and we will bring this file onto our Scan and Cut. Welcome back. So this is my standard tack adhesive mat and 3 totally different types of fabric, which is going to be a great demo, I think.
So the stripe fabric, which is just my basic fabric, I don't have any Steam-A-Seam, Misty Fuse, anything like that on it. I just did a little quick spray with what we refer to as secret sauce, meaning it's half Best Press and half Terreal Magic. Gives it a little bit of body, helps it stick to the mat, helps them get a clean cut. This over here is Minky. So if you are one of the people that actually has a scan and cut with a rotary cutter, you bought the 330 or the 325 model, then you're gonna see why the rotary cutter works great on Minky. If you're not, you're gonna see why you might wanna have Minky, you might wanna get the rotary cutter upgrade, and that is available for any of the 200 model machines. And then I have heat transfer vinyl. So I wanna talk a little bit about the heat transfer vinyl, because if you are not used to cutting your pieces on your scan and cut, you can do this one of two ways. If you are actually going to press this when you, as you work on your pillow, here's the cute little pillow. If you're actually going to press this down before you start embroidering on it, then you're gonna wanna leave this carrier sheet, that's the plastic thing that's on the front of the piece of vinyl, you're gonna wanna leave that on. So in that case, you would turn it pretty side down and mirror image your design and cut with a half cut from the back so that their carrier sheet stays intact, and you have that to actually put an iron on. You can put an iron directly on a carrier sheet, but you can't put it directly on the heat transfer vinyl front on the glitter part. But if you're gonna do it as you normally would do in the directions, you can still use heat, you just won't put it directly on the glitter. Then you can peel your carrier sheet off, and you are going to want to do this before you cut, because you can see that it's stuck pretty good, so it makes it harder to do after it's cut into mittens. And then you can just put it on your mat pretty side up and cut, and that way it'll be just as if you set it down and then trimmed around it, only you won't have to trim around it. So that's the way we're going to do it this morning. And so I have my two different things, my three different fabrics on here. I'm going to cut this one separate because I'm going to use a rotary cutter for that. So I'm going to bring my pattern in that I just saved out of Scan and Cut Canvas, and I'm going to cut these two things first. So I've got my Scan and Cut here. Let me bring the camera up a little bit so that you can see everything. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is retrieve my data. Now, in the previous video that is in front of this, where we were in Canvas, I said that if you had your Scan and Cut connected to your Wi-Fi at home, you would be retrieving it through the pocket here Wi-Fi. But there's no data to be read here because this is the store one. So mine is going to come off of the USB. So I'm going to retrieve from the USB. And here is that the image that I saved of the pieces. So you'll see that I can actually touch, once I save it, I can actually touch the pieces and move them around, either with my fingers or with the help of a stylus. All right, so I know that I have a straight piece of fabric here. So first I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna open Edit and open the magnifying glass so that I can see my pieces. I'm gonna slip this one over here, and then I'm gonna slip these two over here. I think I will have enough width on that. If not, I can see, yeah, I'm a little bit bigger than 1 inch on my fabric slice, so I'm pretty good there. And then these are I'm gonna see what happens when I scan the actual piece of, and then this one I'm actually, for right now, gonna get rid of, because I'm gonna change from my standard blade in the black cartridge. I'm gonna change from that blade to my rotary cutter for the Minky. So for right now, I'm actually going to leave the red box around the Minky piece and delete him. And I'm just gonna go for these pieces. So I'm going to take my mat and very carefully line up my mat in the recessed areas of the plastic here and just bring it up to the wheels, but not push, and then select mat load. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scan my mat. So I'm gonna select scan, and I'm gonna take essentially a little picture of the placement of the fabric on my mat. So now now I can see my fabric. So again, I'm going to do edit and I'm going to make it big because I want to be able to see my placement really well. So I'm just going to take, these are the cuffs of my mittens, and I'm going to now move down to the mittens. So these arrows here, these move whatever is highlighted by the red box. This arrow here moves my mat so I can see down further down the mat. So I guess my my mittens in that position will work just fine. And then this guy has nothing on it because I'm going to switch to the rotary cutter then. So I'm going to select OK and OK. And I always tend to make sure I have no fuzz underneath because that kind of will get in the way. I don't remember what I cut last. So it's going to blow on that blade there. Make sure I have no fuzzy stuff there. Put it back in, select OK, and then select cut. Looks like my half cut is on, so I'm going to go in and turn that off. And then I'm just going to select start. So everything is just set to auto. Remember, if it doesn't cut perfectly the first time, you can always send it around again. As long as the blade's on auto, it will not cut through your mat. However, if you increase the pressure because it didn't cut through the first time, you can run the potential, of having it cut through your mat. I'm going to do quick cutting and unload my mat because my fabric came unstuck, which is not a problem. It just means that my mat's not as clean as I thought it was. So I'm just going to take a little bit of tape and make sure that doesn't move around. And I'm going to go ahead and re-scan it because my fabric might now be in a different place. And there was no cut there, so I should still be okay. I just love it when all the bloopers happen while you're actually on camera, which I actually do. I think it's great because that way you can see how to solve that problem. So I just went back and rescanned. The mittens are, let's see, I'm going to guess they're probably cut. Yep, they're cut, so I don't have to worry about them. So I just want to make sure that my placement of the fabric here was good for this. And I'm going to select OK. And now I know that those guys are cut. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those because I don't need to recut those. So I can just go in there and touch the trash can and go in there and touch the trash can. So right now the only thing that's left to cut there is my mitten tops. And then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the minky with my rotary blade. If you haven't had a chance to see the rotary blade, this is going to be a great first time experience and why you might want to have it. So normally I don't cut fabric with this blade either. I cut it with a fabric blade and a fabric mat because to me the cotton fabric was never a problem to cut once I got a fabric mat. Okay, that's looking good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take these off the mat now. There's that. And there's that. Get my spatula. So what was hard to cut was the fabrics that were problematic. So to me, problematic fabrics were like felt, stuff like that. And of course, minky definitely falls in that category. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my rotary blade and let's take a look at what the difference is. Because why not have a demo that educates as well, right? Okay, so it's basically this teeny tiny little rotary blade. It cuts all of the, and it just spins around like crazy. It'll make a complete circle. I've got some fuzz stuck in there. And literally this cuts everything that was hard to cut before. So if it wasn't hard to cut before, like I said, fabric really wasn't with my fabric mat, but this would be. So I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to delete that file. I'm going to go back and retrieve the data again, the exact same data that I had, except for I'm going to get rid of everything except the penguin. So I'm going to go ahead and let's get that. Grab them all, delete, and then all that's left is my penguin. So I'm going to go ahead and rescan. All right, I'm back. All right, so if I look at this, it's really hard for me to see that. So I'm going to look at the wrench here and see if there's any help for me. And look at, I can change the background. So if I change my background, look at there. Now I can actually see that white piece a little bit better. So I'm going to do okay. And now, oops, I want to grab my piece, as long as the red box is around it, and put it in the middle of that white piece of Minky. So now I'm going to just make sure that this is stuck because I certainly don't want to put tape on my Minky. And I'm going to select OK. And then I'm going to select cut. You don't have to change anything. The machine knows what's on it. So here's why the rotary cutter is great. It does really fabulous cuts on things that are hard to cut. But if they're not hard to cut, you're wasting the actual blade itself, because you'll see that it takes much longer to actually cut with the rotary cutter than it does with a regular blade. Also, replacing the rotary cutter blade is much more expensive than replacing the, okay, I'm going to go around again because that's not quite cut all the way through. So you can see that it's okay. I'm not going to adjust anything. So remember that adjusting the pressure should be the last thing that you do. Pressure pushes down, and the risk of it grabbing your fabric and dragging it around the mat is much higher. So I'm just going to actually let it go around one more time. The other thing you can do is you can slow the speed of the cut down. Slowing the speed of the cut down will also allow the blade to maintain contact with the fabric for a longer period of time. There we go. And there's my little penguin. So I'm going to just scoop him off the mat, and he is ready to go. And I hope that you enjoyed this little video, this little demo, along with the boo-boos, because I think the boo-boos are helpful as well. And then also, if you've never seen a rotary cutter, a rotary blade in action, then you did get to see it in action. So we cut 3 actually very different types of items. We cut mittens, we cut fabric, we cut Minky. So we got all kinds of different things all on the same mat. And that's the beauty of the scanning part of the ScanNCut, is you can put all of these small pieces right on the same mat and just cut. So you don't have to keep changing the mat out. You can just use your small pieces of fabric and just cut.